Can start? Okay. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Thanks for being here. My name is Sylvain Montagny. I'm a professor at Savoie Blanc University. And for many years now, we've provided educational content on LP1 and IoT. So let's get started. That's where our university is in the front Alp. And in this university, we have three departments: electronic engineering, network engineering, and computer science. And as we knew that LP1 would be a major step forward in digital communication, and you know that, we started to teach this technology. And when you want to teach LP1, you always end up with four very good examples: two operated standards, LTE-M and NB-IoT, and two other standards which work in the free bands. You know them, obviously, LoRaWAN and Sigfox. But don't get me wrong, I'm not here to say that LoRaWAN is the best. I'm not here to say that LoRaWAN is even better than any other technology. You know better than me that it only depends on the use case anyway. But instead, I'm here to explain why LoRaWAN could be a very good choice in education, and only in the educational environment. And why is that? We'll see in this presentation that there is a very nice thing with LoRaWAN, is that you can start very easy, or you can do something more challenging and build everything by yourself. Why do I say that we can start easy? Let me remind you during a few seconds the basic infrastructure of a LoRaWAN network. On the left, you've got a device, let's say a simple temperature sensor. It sends the data using the LoRa modulation. And the whole gateway in the gateway coverage receives the data. The gateway has no intelligence at all, so it's up to the network server to take care of the security. It will check its authenticity. And if everything goes all right, it will send the message to the application server, and the message will be decrypted. That's all. That's all LoRaWAN is, nothing more. But as you want to provide your customer the best user experience, then you will set up an IoT platform, and it will be able to reach its data in a nice user interface. So why did I say that with LoRaWAN we can start easy? Indeed, in LoRaWAN, some LoRaWAN player can provide most of this architecture for you. Let's take an example. If you use a public network, the public operators provide you most of this infrastructure. That means that you only have to focus on the device itself and on the IoT platform. What do you need? You need a little bit of money, because the subscription is not free. You have to subscribe to the LoRaWAN operator. And you also need a little bit of luck, because if your device is not part of the gateway coverage, there is nothing you can do about it. Great, but in an educational point of view, is it interesting? Actually, you just use the network, but you don't build anything. So that's easy, but not so interesting in education. What I want to say is that if you use a public network for education, probably LoRaWAN is not better than any other protocol. Can we do something else? Yeah, if you don't like that, then you can deal with the network coverage yourself. So you can buy one or more gateway, register them on the network server, and you will have your own network server if you have subscribed to a LoRaWAN server provider. Okay, it's a little bit more complicated, but on an educational point of view, more interesting. That's what most of the people do when we use TTN or TTI. Can we go further? Yeah, of course we can go further. We can do something more challenging by building everything by yourself, every single step of the network. Your own device, your own gateway, your own server, and your own IoT platform. Great, but if you're able to build such a network, do we have to teach everything to students? Probably not. Let's take an example in our university. In our university, we have three departments. In the electronic department, you can focus on the device itself. You can explain the microcontroller architecture, the transceiver architecture, the antenna design. You can go outside the device. You can speak about the LoRa modulation. And if you include the gateway, you can even speak about the radio propagation. Actually, one of the most frequently asked questions that we have during trainings is, how many gateways do I need, and where do I place them? So it's a very hot topic. Now, with the network engineering department, you can speak more about the architecture, server installation, server administration. Then you can even go further if you speak about the availability of the network and eventually the redundancy in case of failure. And in a computer science, you will speak more about the front end of the IoT platform, the front end of the application server, and you can even add applications to the network server. Great. But at the end, they all have to know quite a lot about LoRaWAN. And if they have to work together, they have to know very well how it works. Great, so let's recap this first part. Why LoRaWAN is a good choice in education? First, that's a basic infrastructure that's hard to understand. I just sum it up within a few seconds. You can either start easy or do something more challenging using a private network. And if you have different people who you want to teach to, then you can focus on only one part of the network. Great. So now let's get down to business. How do we start teaching? How do we start learning? Sorry. How do we start teaching? Eventually, how do we start practicing? And hopefully, how do we become an expert? Let's start with learning. Even if you are a professor or even if you are the best engineer ever, you always have to learn. And you can't guess what LP1 and LoRaWAN is. It's impossible. So you have to find good resources to learn by yourself. Great. Hopefully, some LoRaWAN players can provide very good for you. So let's start with two examples. The first example is from Septech. They've got a website called LoRaWAN Academy, Academy for LoRaWAN. It's an excellent website where you can find many useful information about LoRaWAN. Many topics, many chapters. There are a lot of video as well, and this video it's mostly face-to-face. It goes quite fast sometimes, so it can be a little bit hard to understand, but still it's a very excellent resource. There is another one from the TTN community. In this community, you've got a section called The Things Fundamental, and there are many chapters with many relevant information. So I advise you these two resources. But at Savoie Mont Blanc University, we wanted much more. So we designed two resources. First is a book, and the second resource is a video series with 100 video, approximately 7 hours. And when we designed these two resources, we kept in mind and we kept asking ourselves the same question over and over: what do I really need to know to build a LoRaWAN network? And we had in mind a few guidelines. First, we wanted it to be device, gateway, and network server agnostic. And secondly, we didn't want a tutorial-style lecture, but instead it's more like a clear explanation of all the LoRaWAN functionalities. All these resources are free, so the book is free, and you can download it from our website. The video series is free and will always be free for education. And anyway, for the conference, there is an unlimited number of free lifetime access with this feature. There are already 2,000 students, so you won't be alone. Great. And once you get more confident with the LoRaWAN itself and with the LP1 domain, then you will want to teach. And if you want to teach, you have to provide to your students good material as well. Actually, everything is here. You can teach with the same resources. You can use the book, and you can use the video. It will be free, and obviously we'll always provide them for you and your student. So one could say, great, so I've got the book, I've got the video series, well, what am I here for? You will love teaching this way. You will have time to prepare your hands-on, you will have time to answer questions to your student, you will have time to rephrase what they haven't really understood, you will have time to challenge them. That will be a very good teaching experience. Great, and when that is done, then you need to get our hands dirty. So we need to practice. Once again, if you want to practice, everything is here, because in the video series and again in the book, there are many demonstrations. So if you have to prepare hands-on, your hands-on book instruction should be as easy as one sentence. Build up your own LoRaWAN network. That's it. And they will have to refer to the resource to find the right information, and you will be there as a support. Let's take an example. You want to build a hybrid network. Then it can be done in 4 steps. You have to configure the device. You have to configure the gateway. And once it's done, you have to register the gateway and the device on a network server. Nothing else. Nothing more. If you want to build a private network, then you do exactly the same story, but before, you have to set up the network server on premises or on an external server. And obviously, I guess that for every student, it could be a good choice to build an IoT platform. Great. And to finish, if LoRaWAN is not only what we've just explained, it's a little bit more. Actually, it's much more. There is roaming, there is application like multicast, clock synchronization, data fragmentation, FIOTA, and many more things. And for that, we've built another resource, which is another book that you can also download it from our website for free, along with many video series on YouTube and many dashboards with Node-RED. Everything is available on our website. So to recap everything, LoRaWAN is a good choice in education because we guess that we reckon that it's either very easy or it can be very challenging, depending on what you want to do with your student. You can start teaching easily because there are many resources available, and at Savoie Mont Blanc University, we can provide them for you if you want and if you find them valuable. You can start teaching, start practicing, and hopefully become an expert with new resources that we also provide, as the book I showed you before. I hope you will find it very useful. Thank you so much for your attention.